Hi guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing good and staying safe like always. And I am finally back with another video and I'm very confident that you're gonna love today's topic. I'm actually sitting down to film after more than 10 days. If you follow me on Instagram or if you follow Conquer's Instagram handle, you would know that the last 1 week we had the offline training batch for December going on and it was such a huge success. Every time at Conquer, I am trying to up the game and better and bigger things are coming on board. And you guys just wait for the portfolio pictures of the December batch. I am super happy as to how the photo shoot turned out. The batch was incredible. The enthusiasm was so infectious. And I'm just so proud of every single student. We've had so much going on Conquer that I just had to share the good news with you. We've had 2 winners getting crowned in the last 1 week, one at Mrs. India Queen of Substance and one at Mission Dreams. And so if you want to know more about these pageants and what training programs they were enrolled in and what titles are they winning and all of more updates about Conquer, then you should definitely go over to Instagram and follow the Conquer with Nikita Tanwani handle where you will get all such information. Coming back to today's video, the topic for today's video was actually a suggestion given by one of you in my Instagram DMs, and I thought that was such an important topic. I have spoken about this here and there, maybe in my training sessions, but I realized that I had never made a whole video about this topic, and after 120-ish videos, your suggestions do really help me in finding out what other and new topics I can cover when it comes to the field of pageantry and help you prepare better for your upcoming pageants. Another thing that I've always said is that the world of public relations and networking and the world of pageantry is actually quite similar, and I always love to draw parallels between beauty pageants and other such relevant fields, because pageants being a slightly unconventional field, sometimes people have a lot of misinformation and a lot of stereotypes surrounding it. However, I've always said that my pageant preparation process was one of the most fulfilling learning processes in my life, and it has just helped me so much evolve as a person. And if you focus on that aspect of beauty pageants, there is just so much to learn from it. And so personal branding is such an important thing, an aspect of developing yourself when you go into a beauty pageant. Now in today's video, I'm going to cover the 5 P's of personal branding, which is going to help you establish what you stand for, what your personal brand is, and we will delve into a lot more detail further down in this video. But 2 main concerns of yours that might get resolved in today's video. I'm going to also tell you guys why is personal branding so important and how it's going to help you not just in your pageant but also before and after your pageant. So one of the most dreaded or the trickiest questions that I ask contestants and students sometimes, and something that they struggle with, is this question: what makes you stand out? Or something along the lines of, among all the other contestants, what makes you unique, or why should you win the title? And whenever such a question is posed, the reaction for most of us is, one, you don't have an answer where you can tell how you stand out. A good strategy and approach to answer this question is you do have to acknowledge your fellow contestants. However, to make your answer a winning answer and an impactful answer, you need to do some introspection. And for that, if you have a personal brand, there's nothing better than that, because in that case, you've already been developing a brand for yourself, so you know what value you bring to the table. Another aspect or concern that will also get resolved when you start developing a personal brand and learning how to do it is you will be able to do self-promotion better, not just for yourself but also your advocacy project, with the Beauty with a Purpose project when it comes to Miss India and Miss World, and with other pageants as well. And something that a lot of contestants evolve across their pageant journey is the idea of self-promotion. To a lot of us, sometimes feels like we're bragging, and I don't want to say so much about myself. Some of us do come from that place, and I honestly used to be that person. One of the dilemmas that I first faced in my Beauty with a Purpose project back in India's Miss TGPC was just having to speak about volunteer work, which usually should be anonymous. And something that I've learned across pageants is that self-promotion is a good thing. It helps you become a much more confident person. You build a bigger network. It's amazing to work with people who have the same or even better influence than you with your audience. And the more people that are involved with your purpose, the better. The first question you should be asking yourself is, one, how do I develop a personal brand? And secondly, do I already have a personal brand and I don't know it yet? Whenever you're in pageants, you are a public figure, and I have mentioned this before as well, that you have to have a public social media profile. And in the world of social media, the age that we live in, everything is digitalized. Pageants themselves have gone online for most part of it. And so if you have a social media presence, if you have a digital footprint of any kind, then you already have a personal brand. The only step that is left to do is to further develop it and to get recognized by that brand. And so remember to use your online presence and your digital footprint to the maximum that you can. Now coming to the 5 P's for personal branding that you've all been waiting for. The first P is personal. The word itself, personal branding, contains the word personal. Now there are several ways through which you can develop a personal brand in pageants. It could be through a business that you start during your pageant journey using the exposure and the platform that you've gotten. It could be a makeup line. It could be just any range of beauty products. It could be fragrances. It could be a clothing line, because I see a lot of contestants who come from fashion designing colleges are always vouching and promoting for sustainable fashion, which is amazing. Now imagine if that is the message that you are speaking up for and standing up for, to create a personal brand in the pageant. Wear your entire wardrobe in sync with that personal brand, not just for yourself. The gifts that you also give to your co-contestants can be a great way of marketing your personal brand. Now, a brand does not necessarily mean to be a product or a commercial business all the time. We also have the contestants who just want to volunteer and be of service to the community and the society. That can also be a personal brand. But what is that one cause that you're standing for? What is the type of events and activities that you associate yourself with the most? Make a page for yourself, an official Facebook page, something that all pageant contestants should do. Do not remain on your Facebook profiles. Create your Facebook pages. Make a Twitter account for yourself. When you get into pageants, you are a public figure, and so you have to live the life and you have to start acting accordingly. If you're a current title holder, it is possible that there are certain clauses in your agreement with the pageant organization which you are under. In that situation, to build a personal brand, try to find out what is their brand value and brand mission, and try to take up a leadership position in a sub-chapter or a module of the same brand mission with the pageant organization, because one, they already have a lot of exposure and a bigger platform than you as an individual at the moment. But you can make and build a name for yourself. Remember that the personal brand should not be overshadowed by what the original brand is. Always ask yourself, what value do I bring to the table? And once you're very, very aware of that, you will get a confidence boost, and there's no holding back after that. One of my favorite things that I read in a book sometime is that when you are going for a job interview, for instance, you can ask your employer, what is the biggest problem that you are facing right now, and tell me and I will solve it. No matter what job position you are applying for, this holds true. And the same does apply for beauty pageants as well. Figure out the gaps and figure out how you can be the solution provider. The next P is pointed. Now the word itself may not be explanatory, but what you have to understand is that your personal brand should be pointing towards a certain image or a certain persona. Try not to involve too many things under your umbrella all at once, at least in the beginning or when you're starting out. You can obviously diversify once your brand is well known and recognized, but in the beginning, it's always recommended to try to stick to one thing that your audience will know you for. For instance, in my case, YouTube is how I started my personal brand, and then Conquer happened, and then Conquer now has diversifications. But in the beginning, to be honest, I never planned on launching a training institute either. That was not the agenda right at first. But seeing your love and the support and the response to the type of educational content that I was putting out, it was a step that made sense during the journey. And despite having become a pageant coach, YouTube, having been the foundation of how I connect and interact with my audience, will always remain the same. And so my personal branding will remain online for a huge part of it. And so that is the pointed direction in which I will always keep a priority focus on. Your priorities, again, can change at different times of and different stages of life. However, you have to remember what is that end goal that you have in mind, and remember to not lose focus and not deprioritize it so much in the rat race to look or become like another brand. This is also something I read in a book called Rework a few months ago, is that the largest businesses or the largest brands that are established, one thing that is common among all of them is that they never lose touch of their roots. So remember how you started and keep doing that, because like I always love to say, consistency is reliability. And I need to see that consistency to keep and maintain that trust and faith that your audience has put in you. And no matter how big you become, maybe the frequency of the foundational building block events or activities can reduce, but never lose touch with that. The third P of building a personal brand is purposeful. And I like to call this intentionality of actions. I have spoken about the importance of intentionality in my 5 tips for productivity video. If you haven't checked that out, don't forget to go watch that video. It will be a huge motivation booster, and I think it will help you incorporate a few tips in your daily routine to help you become more productive. When we talk about the actions that you need to take to develop your personal brand, it cannot be any type of actions, because hard work alone is not sufficient in a world where there is so much competition. Your actions need to be purposeful, the same point towards where your personal brand is directed. Now imagine that your end goal is destination B and right now you are at A. And so you have to chalk out the plan of action of how you're going to go from point A to point B. And when you are purposeful in every single action that you take baby steps. Do not try to take a whole leap all at once. And Rome was not built in a day. It is important to realize that there are certain decisions you will have to take to ensure that the brand is not shaken too much all at once. So it is okay to grow organically. Do not expect your brand to boom overnight. And it is always the organic and slowly, gradually built brands that are going to sustain long term. Now, the fourth P for personal branding, and one of my favorite points to talk about in this video, the fourth P is priority. Now, this can be quite confusing at first. One, your personal brand is your priority. But then again, remember that there are two words in this, personal and brand. So one mistake that some people might make in the whole process of personal branding is that do not prioritize the personal too much also. You have to understand at what balance is the personal aspect important and what is the balance of the brand along with it. You are an individual and you will be doing self-promotion, but sometimes there may be phases during the whole process and journey where you have to focus more on the work rather than promoting yourself through the brand promotion, which includes press releases and live interviews and sessions and podcasts, and there are several other things that you can do. But remember, who are you doing this for? Is it for yourself or is it for the audience? And that question will give you the answer as to what is important when you are taking any type of decision right now. There are several decisions that you have to make on a daily basis when you're building a personal brand, when you're an entrepreneur, when you're a public figure, when you are in pageants, you're doing all of these things at the same time. Keep remembering at what point is my happiness and my worth and my promotion important, and at what stage is the community and the audience important. Because believe me, egocentric personal branding is one of the quickest ways to destroy or dismantle a very self-built, sustainable personal brand. Coming to the last P of personal branding, which is optional. Not every personal brand is going to be P, profitable. And now if you want to develop a profitable personal brand, which I believe a lot of national and international title holders have done for themselves, which is very, very efficient and smart, because why not? So now if you want to build a profitable personal brand, you have to figure out the marketing channels for it. I will take some names here that includes Demile, If you go to her social media and Instagram, she has built a personal brand where she's done a documentary series, I believe, where she talks about certain issues that are really relevant and close to her. You can look at Ciara Burchell. She's created a huge personal brand. Danny Walker, someone I admire so much. She's created her own personal brand. Catriona Gray, a personal brand in a whole different niche. Figure out what your talents are, what your skills are, what makes you stand out, and what is that one skill and quality in you that you can utilize and that you can constantly improve upon. Invest your time and energy and focus into developing those skills so that you can enhance and promote your personal brand further. When I talk about profitability, it's not always about money. The answer to your question as to how do I become profitable, the first thing you have to discuss and think within yourself is, what is profit for me? Are you trying to make money? Are you trying to create a movement? Are you trying to educate others? Are you trying to change lives? What is the return on investment that you want from all the personal branding that you have been doing so far? You could write ebooks about what you have learned in your life so far, something that past title holders have done. You could create a YouTube channel like I did and Danny Walker also has done. You could always create a TV show series or a series of videos, because with the digital age, it is so easy to just have your own platform where you can put out content. Educational videos could be one thing. You could talk about volunteer work. You could just show your life in general. There are innumerable ways in which you can develop a powerful personal brand by following these 5 P's, which I have spoken about in a very broad spectrum of things. Now you will have to decide for yourself, what do these 5 P's mean for me? What does profit mean to me? What am I going to prioritize? What is the purpose? Where am I going to be pointing all of this energy and efforts towards? And it all starts with your personal introduction. That itself, I keep saying this all the time, and I may not have mentioned it in my tips for a winning personal introduction video, one of my most viewed videos on this channel, thanks to you guys. But in that introduction itself, you can start laying the building blocks and the foundation for your personal brand. Right when you enter the pageant, your first impression can be very impactful and powerful if you already have in mind the type of legacy that you want to leave behind. And so those are my 2 cents, or rather 5, on how to develop a personal brand when you get into pageants. It's going to help you with so much networking and public relations that you have to build even after your pageant journey and for the rest of your life. Let me know what you guys thought of today's video, and I really hope that you found it helpful and that you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comment section what other topics, such as today's topic, would you like for me to cover so that I can bring forward much more useful and informative content like this for you guys. I love you guys so much, and I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye bye.